Hi, I'm Zara Imtiaz. Welcome to Asian Agribiz Podcast. Today, Arif Fakhruddin is speaking to Dr. Magali Charles about biosecurity measures towards avian influenza. Dr. Charles is regional veterinarian at Cobb Asia Pacific.
Hi, Dr. Magali.
Good morning, Arif.
Thank you for being my podcast guest.
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
Why don't we start this podcast with the introduction of yourself and your role at Cobb-Vantress?
I joined the Cobb company as a regional veterinarian in the Asia Pacific area in 2020. And I've been living in Bangkok for 6 years now.
Interesting. Dr. Magali, avian influenza with its outbreaks in many countries lately has become a hot issue for Asian poultry farmers. In controlling the viral disease, good biosecurity is the top priority. So, to set the foundation for this podcast, what is the definition of biosecurity?
I will define biosecurity as the overall measures leading, firstly, to kill all the pathogens or at least decrease the load of pathogens inside our facilities. And secondly, to keep them outside of the houses.
I agree with you. Preventing the exposure of birds to disease-causing organisms is important, right? Dr. Magali, in a presentation, you mentioned that before choosing a strategy and applying biosecurity measures, we must know our enemy or the pathogen. The enemy is avian influenza. What should we know about this pathogen?
Excellent question. I consider avian influenza as a worldwide targeted enemy. To tackle it, it's critical to understand its resistance in the environment and its transmission. So, avian influenza is an enveloped virus, and an envelope is easy to destroy thanks to disinfectant or even detergent. Unfortunately, it can resist for a few days or weeks in organic materials, for example, manure, and especially at cold temperatures. This virus is transmitted mainly by oral fecal routes, and we have little evidence that the virus can spread over a long distance. Last main characteristic, it's a RNA virus, meaning that it will have the ability to reassort, mutate easily, and escape the vaccinal immunity if the vaccines have not been updated.
Yes, and we also know that there are different strains of avian influenza, right? Highly pathogenic and low pathogenic strains.
That's right.
So now we know the pathogen. Next is the prevention. What are the biosecurity measures towards avian influenza?
The three main measures to prevent avian influenza are: first, that workers or people in contact with our chickens don't have birds at home. If so, the risk will be high to contaminate the commercial flock. Second, the manure is at risk. And when we remove the litter from the house, the dust can support the virus and be disseminated all around. I also encourage all the poultry producers to compost the manure before spreading it on the fields. Composting will kill the avian influenza virus and other pathogens as well. And third, control bird movements. Risk of transmission from farm to farm is tremendous. When an infected but not detected flock is moved to another location, the risk to other flocks during the transportation is estimated at 35%.
Regarding your point on controlling bird movement, it is important, right, to pay attention also on disinfection of the transportation vehicles.
Of course, yes, you're right.
So good plans need good actions. How to convince farmers and farm operators to apply the biosecurity measures that we have planned?
The compliance will always be better if people understand why they have to apply rules. So for every new person entering any facilities, a quick and interactive training should validate the comprehension of the biosecurity measures. Audits should be carried out whatever the circumstances. I like CCTV cameras. They highlight the frequent mistakes. They remind us to adapt the rules to field conditions and stress the importance of biosecurity. These CCTV cameras are an excellent tool by emphasizing biosecurity with workers. Regarding influenza, actions should be taken on a larger scale. Poultry producers should work hand in hand to decrease the risk in the area. For example, by composting the manure and paying more attention to the route taken during the transport of the chickens.
Your statement about CCTV cameras is in line with our previous podcast. If CCTV cameras combined with artificial intelligence, the system alerts automatically if biosecurity is breached. The detection is automatically via CCTV cameras, and real-time notifications are sent to managers. So interesting.
Yes, that will be amazing. And that it will be for the next future. I hope so.
Yeah. And yes, I agree also with your point on compliance. I think the goal is to create a strong biosecurity culture where everyone involved in the farm understands the benefit. This is not easy, but possible to do with real and good examples, right?
Yes, of course.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Magali, for your time and excellent explanation.
You're welcome, Arif. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to another Asian Agribiz podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to this show on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.